Man, the internet is a weird place. I can't tell you the number of times I've gotten onto a forum or a YouTube comment section and people have been asking over and over again, can I sleep with them? Are they good to sleep with? How good are they in bed? For anyone clicking on, we're talking about Bluetooth earbuds. And look, I'm not judging. Maybe you live in a noisy city and maybe you like to go to sleep to the sounds of white noise or your favorite tunes, or you just don't want to hear your partner snoring. I'm not judging. All I'm here to say is today your prayers have been heard, answered, and delivered. This is the one more Comfobuds Mini, and at the asking price of $100, we should 100% be talking about them. It's fitting that we start with build quality and design because this thing is gorgeous. Everything about this device screams, no, whispers quietly and elegantly, attention to detail. From the single diffused LED that tells you your battery life to the single incredibly flush button on the side that you could very well miss that puts it in pairing mode, and that white on white stealth logo right at the front. The only other thing you can see is the seams. Now, most Bluetooth earbuds would have these government mandated labels on the back, but not one more. No, they've actually gone a step ahead and printed it on the inside of the lid. Can someone tell me how that's done? I'm genuinely curious here. I have no idea how you print something on the inside of a curved lid. It's really cool. Inside the case, you'll find equally beautifully sculpted, ever so tiny earbuds. Now, because of the size, shape, and weight of the case, this thing is incredibly easy to pocket on the go, and the earbuds themselves, for the very same reasons, all but disappear in your ears. Now, this particular design of earbud is something you'll see in other devices, the Sony XM4, the entire Technics lineup, for example. And the problem is that if it's lodged in your ear canal only at one point of anchor, then the rest of the earbud hangs outside. This is a problem when your earbud itself is heavy and bulky, but when something is so small and light, that problem just disappears. Just like these earbuds disappear the moment you put them in your ear. They are supremely comfortable provided you get the right fit. And to that effect, there are two things I'd like to state. Number one, you get 4 different types of tips, so that should fit a wide variety of ears. However, the bit that goes into your ear canal is actually fairly wide in diameter. And that's a puzzling decision because that means it may not fit you if your ear canals are particularly slim. This also means that you can't just use any third-party silicone earbud because that might make it wider and therefore a little more uncomfortable. Though I still think this will fit a lot of people, and yes, for the first time ever, I can confidently say you can sleep with these, no problems whatsoever. Now, when it comes to the features, yes, there's an LED in front that tells you your battery level, and yes, there are a couple of LEDs on the earbuds that tell you your pairing status, but that's stuff you can get from the manual. The one thing that's really cool about this is that for this price, sub $100, you get Qi wireless charging. That is not something I expected. Now, the earbuds themselves, they have touch controls, but to avoid any mistaps, they only work with 2 taps and 3 taps. More on that in just a second. They do have in-ear detection, so if you take them out of your ear, your music will pause, put them back in, your music starts playing again. You can also use each earbud independently, which is really nice for extending that battery life if you need it. Now, there is an accompanying app, which is a nice minimal clean affair that gives you battery status of both the earbuds as well as the case. It also gives you some options to customize things, including active noise cancellation. That's right, these little $100 earbuds also come with active noise cancellation and Sound ID, which is their version of EQ. We'll talk about that in the next section. Now, there is customizability, but it's quite limited with the 2 taps and 3 taps being assigned to pairs of options, and that's it. You can't really mix and match. Another thing to note is that you can pick up phone calls, and once you've picked them up, you can cancel them, but you can't reject a phone call from the earbud itself. You'll have to resort to your phone for that. Just something to keep in mind. The app will also handle in the future any firmware upgrades that are in the pipeline, and in a move that clearly shows that One More knew exactly what their target audience was, it can also play soothing sounds. Rainy days, sounds of the beach, thunderstorms, that sort of thing. However, in my testing, for some reason, it kept playing in the right ear only. I don't know if that's an issue with my unit or that's a common occurrence, and you can set that on a timer if you wish. So You can play soothing sounds for half an hour till you fall asleep, and then it'll shut off automatically. What doesn't shut off automatically, however, are the earbuds themselves. If you take your earbuds out, leave them on the nightstand, they don't auto shut off after a while, and there's no option for that in the app. So when I did it, over a period of about 8 hours of sleep, they would run down about 20 to 30%. So not a huge amount, still usable, but just something to keep in mind. And that brings us squarely to the sound quality. Let's talk about active noise cancelling first. Now there are a couple of different modes that are available. You've got off, transparency, and active noise cancelling. Under active noise cancelling, you also have strong, mild, and wind noise reduction. Transparency here is more like ambient amplification, but I found that vocals come through very clearly and they sound really natural and not digitized at all, so it does what it's supposed to do quite well. Okay, now when people talk about active noise cancelling, I find a lot of people don't talk about this. When you put earbuds, any kind of IEMs, even headphones on your ear, you get that occluded ear effect. This can manifest in different ways. Sometimes you hear footsteps, that's not an issue with these, but sometimes, actually a lot of the times, you have an amplification of certain frequencies of outside noise. So if you put earbuds on, any ambient noise you might be hearing will be amplified in the bass frequencies. So the lower rumbles seem a little louder to you. Comment down below if you've noticed this. Now, the lesser active noise cancelling options in the market will only cancel out that amplified bass frequency and therefore not really work towards actually making the ambient sounds quieter. Really good products like Bose and Sony will do a much better job of this, will go above and beyond and actually cancel a lot of ambient noise across the frequency range. And usually to get that level of ANC, you have to pay good money. Until now, the One More Comfobuds Mini actually do a phenomenally good job, surprisingly good for the price. Now they're not going to beat the Sonys and Boses of the world, but for under $100, this is genuinely meaningful active noise cancelling. Now on the street, for me, it worked reasonably well. I would say pretty darn well, but in a loud cafe with a lot of noise and hum going on, it worked surprisingly well. I would go so far as to say that this level of noise cancelling is going to be plenty for most of the people who will use these. Now, wind noise reduction also works really well, but I feel like they've kind of cheated a little bit. What they've done, I think, is that they have let more noise through. So a little more ambient noise comes through and therefore the wind noise doesn't stand out against a quieter background. Nonetheless, it does what it says, and if wind noise is irritating you, turning wind noise reduction on does take that irritation away. So does what it says on the tin. 10 out of 10. Overall, I think for transparency and active noise cancelling modes, this was a very pleasant surprise. Now, as for phone calls in quiet and noisy environments, I'll leave samples at the end of the video if you're interested. And finally, as for actual music quality, well, it's nothing to write home about. It's not broken, it's not bad. I would say it's pretty average and verging on good. If you've watched this channel, you know I'm pretty critical of sound quality. So if you're an audiophile and that's your priority, then this is not going to be for you. However, I would contend that for a lot of people, this is going to sound pretty darn good, with the one exception being the bass. Bass frequencies are there. They have a reasonable amount of thump, but there's a definite lack of detail and it's not going to be as forward as I know some of you prefer it. Now, unfortunately, the app does not have any EQ, and to those of you saying that's okay, I use wavelet or power amp anyway, it doesn't matter. Yes, it does, because when an app has EQ, unlike wired IEMs and headphones, Bluetooth earbuds save the EQ on board the device. So if you use the device with anything else, it'll still run the EQ that you like. That is actually a huge advantage over wired earbuds, IEMs, headphones, etc. Unfortunately, this doesn't have it. What it does have is Sound ID. And how that works is basically it gives you an option of a few tracks and it plays those tracks on repeat. And every time it repeats that sound clip, it gives you a couple of options. One option will usually be with a certain frequency range boosted, and the other one will be without it boosted. And it goes through this about 8 times, and then it makes a little sound ID at the end that is supposed to represent what you like. If you say, hey, you like the boosted bass and the boosted highs like a lot of people do, it doesn't give you the option to choose how much of a boost you want. And the end result, at least to my ears, was a little too off kilter. It just wasn't balanced. Which brings us to battery life. Okay, it takes you 90 minutes to charge up the case, takes you 70 minutes for the earbuds to charge from the case, and battery drain is pretty much exactly what they promised. And that's with AAC with about 70% volume. It's actually a surprising amount of battery life given the size of these things. Genuinely impressed once again. So with all that in mind, who is this for? Well, I can tell you straight away, if you're an audiophile, if audio quality is of prime importance, then look away. This is not the device for you. However, I would contend for most other people, this thing is fantastic. Not only does it work well as Bluetooth earbuds, it works phenomenally well as active noise cancelling buds. Now, is it just me, or do you guys have this problem as well? Like, if I've got my Bluetooth earbuds in, I'm listening to music and I want to change my clothes. I want to change into gym clothes. For example, I take off my shirt and the Bluetooth earbuds go flying out of the ear. Is that a problem that you get? No, it's just me? Okay, never mind. Look, it's important to me. These don't go flying off. These stay well in the ear because they don't jut out at all. It's a big deal, okay? It's a big deal for me, and I appreciate the fact that these things are awesome in that respect. And it works particularly well because of the size, the form factor, the weight, for people who want to go to bed with earbuds in. If you've ever thought about even looking at the Bose Sleep Buds, you should take a look at the One More Comfobuds Mini, because it can do that and more, and it does it well. And above all else, it does all of that under $100. This thing is fantastic. No question about it. And if all of this has made you interested in the One More Comfobuds Mini, then first of all, you should watch other reviews and get different opinions before you make up your mind. And second, you should hit that subscribe button and maybe hit that like button. Help me out with the algorithm. I'll leave you with some sound samples so you know what the microphone sounds like in quiet and noisy conditions. But till next time, stay happy, stay peaceful, stay colorful. Namaste. This is the One More Comfobuds Mini. Quiet conditions, just a little air conditioning running in the background. Very quiet indeed. How do I sound? This is with a very, very loud cafe in the background. There you have it, the One More Comfobuds Mini. I'm going to swivel my head around now so you can hear what it feels like when the microphones are in different positions. What do you think? Is it good? Is it great? Is it awesome? Or is it just bad? Tell me now. Also, like and subscribe.